Bayt are constant, and you will not find any difference where any Imam saying anything against or in contradiction to what the previous Imam has said. فَانْظُرُوا أَهْلَ بَيْتِ نَبِيِّكُمْ قَدْ أَلْزَمُوا صَمْتَهُم. Their purpose and their direction is constant. فَاتَّبِعُوا آثَارَهُم. So it is for you to follow in their footsteps. Why? فَلَنْ يُخْرِجُوكُم مِّنْ هُدَى وَلَنْ يُعِيدُوكُم فِي رَدَى. They will never get you out of the right path, and they will never put you back to the wrong path. Follow their footsteps. فَإِذَا لَبَدُوا فَالْبُدُوا وَإِذَا نَهَضُوا فَانْهَضُوا. When they stand up, you stand up. When they rise, you rise. And then he says, فَلَا تَسْبِقُوهُمْ فَتَضِلُّوا وَلَا تَتَأَخَّرُوا عَنْهُمْ فَتَهْلِكُوا. Do not try to go beyond them, exceed them, overtake them. If you do that, you will go astray. And don't try to delay following them. If you will delay, you will be destroyed. He said this in his time, long before other Aimma were born. What he forecast and predicted has stood up exactly, accurately, all over the centuries. The difference between other Muslims and this path, which is called the path of Shia Ithna Ashari, is that while other Muslims have 23 years of hadith, since the Prophet announced his prophethood till he passed away, 23 years. Whatever he said during those 23 years is hadith. If it is authenticated, then whatever he said, he did or confirmed is hadith. But they have 23 years. We have 272 years. There's a difference between 23 years and 272 years. Because right from Hijrah and 13 years of before Hijrah till the death and the martyrdom of Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam in 260 Hijrah, add up and it comes to nearly 272 to 273 years. While they have 23 years, we have 273 years of Ma'soom following one after the other, and the constancy of ahadith, which they don't have. And that is why our literature and our legacy and heritage is a lot richer, because we have so many things. Example, our brothers, Sunni brothers, have 6 books which are called Sihah. Sihah means they are, to them, authentic books. And they call them Sihah Sitta, means 6 authentic books. Of course, we have heard the names, but some of the names are commonly known, like Bukhari Sharif, Sahih Muslim, Sunan Ibn Majah, Tirmidhi, Sunan Nasai. These are the books which are known to them, and they call them Sihah. That means authentic books. Whatever is written in those books, to them it is authentic and correct. That they are all reported from our Prophet. Of course, through the chain of narrators. Put all the ahadith together, the traditions which have been reported from our Prophet, in all these 6 books, add them together, it is less than one Usul-e-Kafi, which is our book. You see, in Usul-e-Kafi, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Yaqub Kulaini, who died in 329 Hijrah, has collected more than 20,000 hadith. If you put all these 6 books of our brothers together, it does not reach 20,000. So Usul-e-Kafi is only one book. Although we don't believe that everything in that book is sahih, because we put everything to test. Yet the hadith reported by Usul Kafi ranges from our Prophet till all our Aimma alayhimus salam. And therefore we have a richer legacy with us. And therefore it is our belief that Aimma alayhimus salam who followed each other must have a nas. This is very important because the time is short, but we have got to discuss this subject, that we believe that every imam is mansoos min Allah ta'ala. Mansoos means there is an evident text, evidential text, to say that this is the imam after the preceding imam. And the way it is practiced is that Allah appointed the Prophet, and the Prophet appointed Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So that is nas min Allah ta'ala, for the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did this by the command of Allah. And then each imam, in spite of having various sons at that time, would appoint one son and say he is the imam. That nas is of importance. There is no election here. It is mansoos min Allah ta'ala. That means there is a wasiyah. Like Imam Hussain alayhi salam did the wasiyah. Before parting for Shahadat, came to the camp where Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was there and made a wasiyah and said, I make a nas. That means I appoint you as an imam after me. And so on. When Imam Muhammad Taqi salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi was called from Medina to Iraq, first he was called twice. When he went for the first time, as he came out of Medina, one of the companions started crying. And he said, Yabna Rasulullah, you are going. فَلِمَنِ الْأَمْرُ بَعْدَكَ. Who is going to be the imam after you? Because he thought that Imam alayhi salam might not return. Usul Kafi, Kitabul Hujjah, Yaqub Kulayni says that Imam alayhi salam smiled at him and he said, لَيْسَ الْغَيْبَةِ كَمَا ظَنَنْتَ فِي هَذِهِ السَّنَةِ. Ghaibat will not take place, don't worry, in this year. That means people were actually waiting now for ghaibah. From 9th Imam onwards, people are waiting for ghaibah. Any time, Imam alayhi salam consoled him and said, لَيْسَ الْغَيْبَةُ كَمَا ظَنَنْتَ فِي هَذِهِ السَّنَةِ. There is no ghaibah in this year, don't worry, I'll come back. And Imam alayhi salam came back. Went again for the second time. When he went for the second time, again Ashab asked him, he said, now I'm telling you, this son of mine, Ali, will be my imam after me. There was a nas of Imam Ali al-Naqi salawatullah wa salam alayhi. The virtues and the excellence and the qualities of Aimma salamullah alayhim were known and are known even today. If you read the history of the Shia development, you will find that even there have been so many disturbances. For example, we don't have one sect among Shias. We have Zaydiyah, we have Ismailiyah, and we have so many, Kaisaniya and others. Some of them have ceased to exist, but some of them are still in existence. There have been so many variations, but right through the variation, there has been one line which is called the golden line. You see, the line which goes from Imam Hussain alayhi salam upwards to our Imam Hujjah. Everyone has agreed, even the enemies, that this line is called Silsilatul Zahab, the golden chain. For they were excellent, unmatched, unparalleled in their virtue. And I remember in the early days when our community was there in Zanzibar, the Qadi of Zanzibar and then later on Chief Qadi of Kenya, Sheikh Abdullah Saleh Al-Farsi, on Sundays used to give full biographical sketch of every Imam. Of every Imam, up to Imam al-Hujjah. He himself was Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. But he gave, and he used to say that these were in ilm, in knowledge, in taqwa, in piety, unmatched in their times. But if anybody asked him, then why do you adopt other ways and leave them? There is no answer. There is no answer. Not only that, mutawakkil. Now this word mutawakkil is not only for Khalifa. Many of us do not know that mutawakkil was the title of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam also. Even Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam was of the same title, al-Mutawakkil. If we read the earliest history of Erbili, who died in 3rd century, he writes, Ali ibn Muhammad al-Mutawakkil al-Naqi al-Hadi. But Imam alayhi salam himself said that since the king of Abbasi has adopted the same, do not call me with that title. Otherwise his title was also Mutawakkil. Mutawakkil is one who has put all his faith and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am talking of Abbasi Mutawakkil. Abbasi Mutawakkil is the one who gave the order to destroy the grave of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Now, one day he fell ill, he fell sick, and he had a wound somewhere which would not heal. Now, in earlier days, we know this, that they used to actually, the best treatment for such wounds was by fire. That means take a rod, heat it, make iron, make it red hot, and then keep it on the wound, which Gujarati say dam. But no one had the courage of telling the king that we would bring this red hot iron and keep it on the wound, because they knew it will offend him first, and second is that he might not accept it. So Tarikh and history says that fakana ala washaki mawtih, means he was nearing death because of that wound which was spreading. Fatah bin Khaqan, who was there, he said, Mutawakkil, why don't you ask Ali ibn Muhammad al-Naqi? He might have some remedy for it. Before he did that, Mutawakkil's mother makes another. Now this is what I want to tell you. Another, that if my son Mutawakkil is cured, I will give 10,000 dinar in nazar to Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam. It shows that the aqidah for Imam was there even in the household of the enemy. Otherwise she could have said nazar to any poor. But nazar with the name of Imam means that there was an aqidah. The mother of Mutawakkil. Well, someone comes to Imam alayhi salam, suggests a medicine and says, apply that and he will be inshallah all right. And they applied and he was cured. Imam received 10,000 dinar from Mutawakkil's mother in a small bag with her seal on it. And another 400 dinar further up, she added another bag and she sealed it. Imam alayhi salam kept both those bags aside. When Mutawakkil was cured, someone said, Mutawakkil, although you are cured, but do you know Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam has gathered so much wealth at home that any day he can topple your kingdom. If you send someone at home, you will find so much of ammunition, weapon and money that he can topple your government anytime. So he sent someone at night. He himself reports that, this is in history, when I entered Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam's house, it was dark. And I could not find the door. From inside, Imam alayhi salam called me by my name and said, oh, so and so, wait, I am going to bring for you a candle. Isbir hatta atika bisham'a. and he brought him a candle. I entered the house and I searched. I saw these two bags. But when I looked at the bag, I saw the seal of Mutawakkil's mother. So there was nothing I could do. I just took it. And as I was walking out, Imam alayhi salam said, wait. Look under the musalla. So I just lifted the musalla. I saw a sword. Imam alayhi salam said, I keep a sword. The sword is for every man who wants to defend himself. This ammunition is necessary. But before you find it, I am telling you, every man must have some weapon to defend himself. This is my sword for defense. If you want to take it together. Show him, Mutawakkil, that you found this sword also. So he said, I took the sword and the money. When I came to Mutawakkil and I showed him, he wouldn't believe his eyes. So he came to his mother and said, Mother, did you? He said, yes, there is no another but another of Alu Muhammad. These are the pure people for whom Allah has said. Just now we heard, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. So Mutawakkil sent back both the bags and added two more from his own. And he also sent back the sword and said, sword, of course, one sword every person must have. And this money I am adding to it. It shows that there was that particular irada, that particular love. But in spite of that recognition, of course, we know that Alu Muhammad have gone through all the problems. Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, was at the time when Ghaiba was near. And therefore, ulama were trained in one particular art right from Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam till his time in onward, which is called tafri'. The hadith is, alayna al-usul wa alaykum al-tafri'. O ulama, we will show you principles, you will go into the ramifications. The principle is shown, then there are ramifications. With ramifications, of course, the ulama have got to use their own intellect because circumstances and situations change. But they have got to keep the book of Allah, that is Quran and Hadith, always in mind. Even today, the mujtahideen are working on tafri'. That means the usul is there, but they work on fara', on branches. The example, one very simple example, is which we know, that when Yahya ibn Aqsam asked Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam as to what is the kafara for one who hunts while he is in ihram. Now this is a question of principle. If you are in ihram, what is the kafara if you hunt? Imam alayhi salam says, did he hunt at night or daytime? Tafri', ramification. Was he a slave and forced to hunt, or was he the master of his own will? Was he a first-time hunter or a repeating hunter? Did he hunt a big animal or a small bird? 22 ramifications. If you look at that particular riwayah, 22 ramifications. Imam alayhi salam asked. That was the way to teach the ulama, that there is a principle, but together with the principle, there are furu'. And Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam started with tafri'. That is one thing. And for 20 years, he lived in Medina. And for the rest of 11 years, he lived in Samarra. While in Medina, he was independent. People used to come and go. But when Mutawakkil and Mu'taz saw that now he was gaining ground in Medina, they called him to Samarra to weaken his hold in Medina. When he came to Samarra, then the things changed. So we find that then people used to write, and we have got books after books which are called Mukatibatul Askariyain, correspondence with two Askari. Askari means Imam Ali al-Naqi and Imam Hasan al-Askari. Both are called Askari. Askar, Ain, Sin, Kafra is a place in Samarra, location, where the Imam used to live. That is why they are called Askari. And they are Askariyain, means two Askari. Mukatibatul Askariyain, books are written on the correspondence. People used to correspond because they could not come openly. They would write letter and Imam al-Islam would answer. So that started in those days when letters were being exchanged between Imam and the people who referred. This is the work that Imam Ali al-Naqi al-Islam did. The time of Imam Ali al-Naqi was such that Abbasid Empire was in turmoil. From Baghdad, they had already moved to Samarra. For 54 years, they were in Samarra. And in Samarra, their hold was weak. So Imam al-Islam saw nearly 5 khulafa changing hands, being killed, being toppled, again being reinstated. And he saw them till the time of Mu'taz. Just to give one idea and finish, because the time is up now nearly. Among his companions is someone who's called Ibn Sikit. Ibn Sikit, Sikit, in Arabic, one who is silent is called Sakit. Sikit is one who is very much silent, doesn't talk at all. That means he is very, very silent, reticent. Even if he sits among people, does not speak much. He was, Ibn Sikit is still an authority in Arabic literature. He was a companion of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam. But he was appointed a teacher to the sons of Mutawakkil. One day Mutawakkil asked him, how are my sons faring on in their studies? Ibn Sikit said, they're doing well. That's all. He said, but don't you think they are better than Hassan and Hussein? Now this was the question. Don't you think they are better than Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein? Now the man who never spoke, the man who always kept quiet, only 2 weeks before he had said, there is one common couplet. Only 2 weeks before this, he had said, يُصَابُ الْفَتَى مِنْ عَثْرَةٍ بِلِسَانِهِ وَلَا يُصَابُ الْمَرْعُ مِنْ عَثْرَةِ الرِّجْلِ. A man can suffer with the slip of his tongue, but he cannot suffer more with the slip of his feet or legs. فَمَا يُصَابُ بِلِسَانِهِ فَتُذْهِبُ رَأْسَهُ وَمَا يُصَابُ بِالرِّجْلِ فَتَبْرَأُ بِالْمَهْلِ. Whatever he suffers by the way of his tongue can cost him his head. And whatever he suffers by his feet, one day can be cured. That means if you slip, it can be mended, cured. But when you say something, it can cost your head. It is only 2 weeks before that. And now here, when he was asked whether Hassan and Hussein are better than, he said, Kambar. This is the answer he gave. He said, Kambar, the servant of Imam Ali, is better than you and your sons. You can't compare Hassan and Hussein. The moment he said this, Mutawakkil ordered him to be killed, and he was killed. He was kicked so hard and then killed. Poor fellow, what he said 2 weeks cost himself his head for having spoken. But you can imagine the times in which Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam lived. He was born in 212 Hijrah in Madinah Munawwara. His mother's name is Sammana. Second name is Sayyidah. Third name is Ummul Fadl. But the first name is Sammana. She was a Maghribiya. Maghribiya means she was from North Africa. Maghrib is North Africa, not Maghrib West. When in history of Islam you come across Maghrib, it means North Africa. It does not mean the Western countries. Many people believe that she must be a European. No, she wasn't a European. She was a North African, Maghribiya. And her name was Sammana. and she was a pious lady of her time. Of course, may Allah make this night for us Mubarak, inshallah. The roads at the moment up to Iraq, as you know, are difficult. But inshallah, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one day, very soon, we will all meet in Najaf, Karbala and Samarra, inshallah, to be able to do the ziyarat of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam and many others. Wassalamu alaikum.